All right, we are back and we're into part one, personal mindset, and we're going to go over part of chapter one. I'll probably break this into a few parts, all the chapters going forward, just so they're not too long. But we'll go right into chapter one, and chapter one is understanding FI, or financial independence. And this quote here I just love by Benjamin Franklin. It says, "An investment in knowledge pays the best interest." Okay. And so that's what we are trying to do with this book, right? We're trying to gain knowledge so that it'll pay us. And the inspiration for this book. So like I said, I'm going to be reading, verbatim pretty much certain sections of the book, and then I'm going to comment where I feel necessary, right? This is just unscripted, and we'll just kind of go with the flow. So the inspiration. I intended to write this book for new families. My wife and I have been married for 24 years at the time of this writing. Now it's 25, and we have 7 children. I remember the challenges. We still just have 7 children. I remember the challenges we had as newlyweds and then as young parents, always worrying about finances. So for all of those new husbands and wives, mothers and fathers out there, I hope this book will provide some relief from your financial concerns. And that really was kind of a passion point for me when I sat down and wanted to write and create something that would be helpful, right, for individuals on just starting out their financial journey. While there are many more facets to sustaining a happy family life, having your financial house in order is extremely important, right? I know there's other things that are more important than personal finance to have a happy family, but having your, as I say here, your financial house in order is very important, okay? Business and finance have been my focus and passion for over 20 years. I have some big picture ideas to share that will give you a clear financial perspective to help you achieve financial independence. Even if you're not a newlywed or a young parent, you're also welcome and encouraged to read this book, right? Because the topics, ideas, and principles apply universally. Right, so everyone, just general readers, this will still apply. I believe that one of my purposes in life is to strengthen families, and this book is one of the ways that I'm doing that. I believe in families where the mother and father work together to raise their children in love and righteousness. I hope to inspire families to stay strong. Due to my history of working with families as a financial advisor, I know that financial stress weakens morale, leads to unnecessary frustration, and consumes precious time and energy that could have been used for accomplishing other goals. In some cases, the frustration and anger related to finance leads to tragic family breakups. It's sad. I hope this book will give you the inspiration and knowledge to combat financial worries and strengthen your family. This book is not about quick fixes, but rather what it will take to achieve lasting financial independence. Who is this book for? If you are just starting out in life or are just beginning to learn about personal finance and how to achieve financial independence, which I refer to as FI, throughout the book, you're in the right place, right? If you've just started college or are entering the work field, this book is also for you. And if you want to learn more about achieving FI in general, this book is for you. Now, if you're already a financial guru, right, this book may not provide entirely new insights, yet it could offer a fresh perspective on financial independence. So before we get too far, I want you to know that achieving FI will take time and effort. Still, it is reasonably obtainable in your lifetime. I also want you to know that my book will not be enough. I've kind of talked about that. This book is only meant to be a catalyst, right, to help you start your FI journey. There are many other books you'll need to read and concepts you'll need to learn in addition to what I'm sharing with you. To succeed, you must be open-minded and a lifelong learner. Really important there. Open-minded and a lifelong learner. Open-minded people see opportunities that closed minds cannot. Those opportunities might make a substantial difference in your FI journey. I believe that. I believe if you're looking for opportunities to better your situation, you will be more in tune when those opportunities come. So you'll recognize that you can take advantage of this opportunity and improve your financial situation. Now, there is a long route and a short route to financial independence. The long route is well established with a high success rate, while the short route is riskier and doesn't always lead to accumulating a fortune. And I address those both methods in the book. My thoughts, ideas, beliefs, and opinions about FI have been influenced by many authors, mentors, and personal experiences I've gained during my more than 20 years working in personal financial planning. The most foundational financial perspectives I've acquired as a financial advisor, investor, landlord, professor, husband, father, and perpetual student of the School of Hard Knocks are detailed here. From these positions, I've obtained multiple insights and valuable experiences that can help the next generation on their FI journey. If you're reading this book, you fit into one of four categories: starters, fixers, players, or winners. If you are a starter, you do not have debts, assets, budgets, or plans already in place. Fixers have more debts than assets and lack a budget and a plan. Players have more assets than debts, have a budget, and have a plan, but they still have more expensive than passive income produced by assets. They are still in the accumulation phase, but on their way to becoming financially independent. Winners have more assets than debts, a budget and plan, and more passive income than expenses. And if some of those words don't resonate with you or don't understand, that's okay. We're going to learn more about that as we go through the book together. Interestingly, you'll probably be all four during your FI journey. These categories are only essential to give you a frame of reference for where you are now and where you want to be, right? We all want to be winners. So, we might be just starters. We might be fixers because we got into some bad debt and we need to get ourselves out. We might be players where we do have a budget, where we're saving and we're on our way, but we don't have quite enough passive income to produce enough money to pay for all of our expenses. And like I said, you'll be in these different categories throughout your financial journey. The idea there is that if you never stop, right, you will be a FI winner one day, right? And that's the past is in the past, and the only thing that matters is your future. So as I mentioned before, I'm passionate about families. While families and businesses differ, they have some similarities, primarily when focusing on financial aspects. My wife's grandfather used to say, quote, "Raising a family is big business." And I agree with him. My wife and I continually strive to keep our financial house in order, and while it's not always easy, maintaining the proper perspective and discipline has made a difference. To begin, I want to share a brief part of my early story with you. I am first and foremost a dreamer. I had to learn how to plan and achieve my dreams. I'm just an average guy, and I'm always learning, but my life, in its own way, has been extraordinary. God truly is in the details of our lives, and I know that if I am capable of learning and improving throughout my financial journey, so can you. I grew up in a middle-class family outside of Seattle in the late 80s and throughout the 90s. I spent more time in my grunge band when I was a teenager than on improving my high school grades. I remember one day a friend in high school was looking up Microsoft's price in the finance section of the newspaper to see how much his shares had increased. All I remember thinking was, who is Microsoft and how does that work? I was kind of a rough and tumble kid when I was younger, and you could say I had my head in the clouds. I liked to dream, draw, and create things. I was always taping and gluing things together, thinking I might make something useful, but I really never did. I got average or maybe a little below average grades. I was not fond of school, and I disliked homework. My worst subjects in school were Spanish and math. I didn't understand how either applied to my life. First, I didn't know anyone who spoke Spanish. Second, I didn't see how solving for X would help me pursue a career in a rock band. Yep, I was in a garage band. thought maybe I could be a rock star, right? Little did I know that I would spend years speaking Spanish in foreign countries and get really excited about math when I could see how it related to making money. So like most of us, I grew up and had a life-changing experience. Mine happened in Bolivia in 1998, then in Ecuador in 2001. For 2 years in La Paz, Bolivia, I was exposed to extreme poverty as a missionary, and I began to count my blessings more earnestly. My appreciation for God, my family, and my education increased dramatically. I felt like my learning capacity had expanded, and I wanted to learn as quickly as possible. While in Bolivia, medical doctors from the United States visited to perform medical and dental procedures for the less fortunate. It was beautiful what the doctors did for the people. Both the givers and receivers benefited from the experience. I wanted to be part of that process later in life when I was working. I wanted to give something of value to others that would bless their lives. But I didn't know what I, of all people, could provide, and so I wasn't sure what I could do to serve as a humanitarian. Nevertheless, living with the people of Bolivia as a missionary and experience that level of poverty created a desire inside of me to give back to them and anyone else who I could help. In 2001, shortly after we were married, my wife and I went to Quito, Ecuador to work with orphans. There I first heard the story of the starfish. The story I recall talks of a boy walking on a beach as the tide is going out. In the distance, he sees a man throwing a stranded starfish back into the water to prevent its demise by burning under the hot sun. The closer the boy got, the more starfish he could see lying across the sand. There were too many to count, but the man continued to pick up starfish, one by one, and throw them back into the sea. The boy asked the man, "Why are you throwing the starfish back into the sea?" The man grinned and replied, "To save them, otherwise they'll die." As the man bent down to pick up the next starfish, the boy said, "There are too many. You'll never save them all. You won't make a difference." The man smiled warmly, looking at the boy as he threw another starfish back into the sea, right? And said, "It made a difference to that one." For me, it has always been about focusing on the one. I hope this book's words and ideas make a positive difference to you, the one they are meant to reach. I hope your family is strengthened and your entire financial future can improve because you've applied what you've learned. I hope a family on the verge of a breakup caused by financial stress might be spared because they learned how to navigate their finances. I wrote this book to help moms and dads obtain financial independence so they can spend the majority of their most precious resource, their time, focused on each other and their children. I believe that if I can help one person or family sidestep financial ruin, writing this book was worth all my effort and time. As your friend, I humbly admit that I am not perfect. I have struggled with and continue to struggle with some of the principles in this book. I am still finding my way. But that's okay. God only ever has imperfect people to work with. While my imperfections are my responsibility, I know that the principles and concepts that I share are correct. The comforting news is that if we are all imperfect, and I still understand and strive to follow these concepts, so can you. There is always hope in this life. We are never too far gone. While our circumstances, personalities, and challenges differ, we can all start wherever we are and move forward one step at a time. Phi is not a competition to see who is better. It is an opportunity for personal progress. I know that if your financial house is in order, you'll have more time and resources to focus on strengthening your relationships with your spouse and children, and then hopefully you can pass on your success to other families who need guidance. Daniel E. Rudiger, who is known as Rudy, created his own inspirational story. A mediocre student with limited athletic ability, Rudy had a big dream to play football for the University of Notre Dame. Against impossible odds, he made his dream come true, if only for 3 plays in one game. Years later, Rudy took his story to Hollywood, but movie studio after movie studio shot down his story idea. Why would anyone want to see a movie about a no-name who never made it as a star athlete? They would say, right? As Rudy explained, he embodied the countless people who, like him, would never reach the pinnacle of their sport, yet their dreams and determination motivated them. He was just average enough to be relatable, yet his resilience and perseverance pushed him toward his lofty dream, not once, but twice. Rudiger eventually sold his story rights. The 1993 film Rudy was praised by critics as uplifting, earnest, and a small but powerful illustration of the human spirit. Like Rudy's story, which is relatable to the masses, this book is for the millions of people who need solid guidance on achieving financial independence. I'm average. I've experienced financial stress and difficulties in my life. Financially, life has not gone as I planned. It hasn't been easy. However, living frugally, saving up my money, maintaining as little debt as possible, and never giving up have helped my family weather life's financial storms. My wish is for you to achieve great things in your life. No matter the challenges you face, stay determined and hopeful. A scrappy spirit and unwavering optimism have carried me through life's storms. And they can do the same for you, guiding you toward a brighter future. The point is that this writing is not for the ultra-wealthy and elite. It is for the everyday family willing to learn, work, and achieve financial independence. Fantastic. We're going to go ahead and stop there and then pick up on the rest of the chapter in our next video. Thanks for being here with me. You guys are fantastic. Keep working hard, and we'll see you real soon.